Welcome back to Happy Homes Portfolio Power-Ups. I'm your host, Laura Baker. Last week, we talked about onboarding your home for success. But today, we are getting real about the numbers. Look, we all remember 2021 and 2022. It was the Wild West. We could put a for rent sign on a cardboard box in Somerville and get 40 applications by lunch. But it's February 2026, and that frenzy, it's officially dead. We are now in a selection market, which means tenants have the power to choose. If you're pricing based on what your neighbor got 3 years ago, you're not just overpricing, you're losing money every single day your home sits empty. Joining me today to give us a street level truth is our Director of Property Management and Charleston native, Shelby Cason. Shelby, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Laura. It's great to be here. You're exactly right. The vibe of the market has shifted. In 2026, we're seeing a massive divergence in how different submarkets are behaving. Take Mount Pleasant, for example. We're seeing average rents for a 3-bedroom hovering around $3,200 to $3,500, but tenants there are demanding the Mount Pleasant lifestyle. They want the upgraded kitchen, the walkability, and the perfect curb appeal. If you don't have those, your competition wins. Then you look at West Ashley, for example, it's still incredibly strong because of that proximity to downtown, but it's more eclectic. So we're seeing rents in the 2,200 to 26 range. The power-up strategy there isn't luxury, it's reliability. Tenants in West Ashley are looking for more of long-term stability. So if you price even $100 over the sweet spot, they'll just move one street over to a similar bungalow for less.
That's a huge point. As an onboarding manager, I see owners get price tunnel vision. They see a high number and they get hooked on it. But they forget that 1 month of vacancy wipes out a year's worth of $200 rent increase. Shelby, let's talk about the 98% occupancy goal. How does Happy Homes manage to do that and achieve it for the properties that we manage instead of the 45,
Sure.
60 days on the market?
Yeah. So it's all about the first 14 days. In 2026, the honeymoon phase of a listing is shorter than ever. If we don't have a high intent lead in the first 2 weeks, we are not waiting for a miracle. We immediately pivot. So we look at the lease whisper data, which is like how many clicks, how many drive-bys, how many people started the application process and stopped. And we use what I call aggressive reality. So we price for the 98% occupancy because 2% vacancy is just part of the business. But if we're at 10% vacancy, that's a failure. So we'd rather get 2,400 today than 2,600 in April, because by April, you've already lost 4,800 in missed rent and you'll never get that money back.
Exactly. I always tell my onboarding clients, we aren't just looking for the tenant, we are looking for the right tenant at the right time. If the price is right, the applications will come in because the tenant feels that it's a fair price from day one. It's time for the heat map. This is where we highlight one area in the Tri-County that we think is currently undervalued for investors. Shelby, what's your point on this?
So this might surprise some people, but I'm actually looking at North Charleston near the Navy Yard and Park Circle. Everyone knows Park Circle is cool, but the surrounding pockets are actually seeing massive infrastructure investment in 2026. We're seeing properties there that are still attainable for investors, but the rental demand is skyrocketing because people want to be near the new tech hubs and port expansion. So you can still find value there if you know which streets to avoid, and that's where our native knowledge comes in.
That is gold. So for owners watching, your power up for this week is audit your price. Don't look at what was, look at what is. If you aren't sure where your property sits on the 2026 scale, that's exactly what we do during our initial consultation. We bring the data, we bring the game plan, and we make sure your portfolio is built on a foundation of reality, not of hope. Shelby, thanks for dropping some knowledge on us. Next week, I will be flying solo to talk about the Accidental Landlord Survival Guide, how to stop treating your rental like your home and start treating it like the powerhouse asset it is. I'm Laura Baker. Stay smart, stay native, and let's get your home happy. See you next week. In the meantime, keep building that empire.